Hi guys, Dave here with you. Thanks for joining us today. Sorry it's been so long since our last video, but we appreciate all the subscribers and all of your comments. Today we're going to make something that's really delicious. It's shrimp and grits Dave's way. There's a lot of different ways to make shrimp and grits, and this is the method that I use. I hope you like it. I hope you'll try it. So today we're going to do it on the griddle. We're going to use this pan to make our grits in. It's got a lid in it so they'll steam just like they are supposed to. So let's get cooking. First thing, of course, we're going to turn this on. And I like to turn them all on because I want the griddle to heat up evenly. Don't want to risk getting any warpage. I don't necessarily need them all at this time, but at least I want to get this thing coming up to temperature pretty much all at the same time. So while that's coming up to temperature, we can start adding the liquid to our pan. So you can use just plain water, you can use chicken stock, you can use water with bouillon, chicken bouillon, vegetable bouillon, whatever you want. But I like to use this seafood stock. The recipe we're going to use calls for 3 to 4 cups of liquid for every 1 cup of grits. This is a quart of seafood stock, so we'll start out with that. This is pretty good stuff. It's got a light seafood flavor. Another way you can do this is you take your shrimp, if you buy them with the shells on and maybe even with the heads on. When you peel and devein them, some guys will take and they'll use that shells and make a stock out of that and then strain that and use that for the liquid, and that's very good. Very good to do that. So, but I don't want it too strong. I don't want to overcome the flavor of the grits, so I'm also going to add the same amount of water. Okay. Check our temp here. See how she's doing. 189, 198, 201, 195. I'm going to put the lid on this and let this start heating up. Put it right over top of one of the burners. This is the hottest spot on my griddle. So we'll let that start heating up. While that's heating up, let's prepare our shrimp. I've already bought peeled and deveined shrimp, and I'm going to cut these into thirds like this. 1, 2, because I want to have bite-sized pieces. I want to be able to eat it with a spoon or a fork, whichever I want to do. Okay guys, so we got all the shrimp cut up into thirds. This was actually about a 31 to 40 count. You want a good amount of shrimp. It's shrimp and grits, not grits and shrimp. So, all right, so the next thing we're going to do, check our temperature on the stock. Oh, she's a steaming. That's a good sign. Yeah, 187, 185. I can see some bubbling in there. It doesn't have to be all the way to boiling to make these grits. So we'll let that just finish for a moment. Where I've got this now, I've got these 2 burners off. I've got this burner down on low and this one down on low, just so you know. The griddle temperature is 463 under the pan. Yeah, 475 right there. And then over here, the residual heat is 290, 285, like that. Just so you kind of get a feel for what these temps are. So for the grits, I like to use a coarser ground grit. These are Atkinson's. I get them at my local fish market. Use whatever kind of grits you want as long as they're the long cooking grits. You don't want to use quick grits or instant grits. You can use Quaker, Aunt Jemima. You can order them from Canada if you want, but just use as coarse a grind as you can. I think it makes for a better shrimp and grits, but the other ones are just fine. They're going to turn out great. So the recipe here is 2 cups of grits and 3 to 4 cups of water for every cup of grits. So we got a 2-cup measuring cup right here. If some is good, more is better, right? Okay, so we're going to put our grits in there, and we're going to give them a stir while we put them in. Trying to avoid the lumpiness. Avoid the lumps. I've done this before in just an aluminum cake pan, and it works real good. I had to use aluminum foil for the lid, and that was kind of a pain. So I went on Amazon and I ordered this stainless steel pan because it had a lid with it, and I like it. It seems to transfer the heat quite well, and we're gonna predict that nothing sticks to it. I didn't say hope nothing sticks to it, because hope is not a plan. So we plan for nothing to stick to it. All right. So we'll keep stirring that a minute. Let that get thickened up. Let's check our temperature. I cooled it down 165. But that's okay. It doesn't have to be much hotter than. I mean, when you think about it, when you make grits on the stove, you get your water boiling, you put the grits in there, stir it around for a minute, and then you set it off to the side anyway, which is basically what we're going to do today. But we want to let this just get going like that. So while that's working, put the lid back on it. At that temperature, I'll leave it right there for a moment. Warm out here, guys. Let's see how warm it is. Oh, it's 100. All right, next step is we got our grits working. Let's season our shrimp. So the number one thing that I like to use for my shrimp is Old Bay. So we're going to put some Old Bay in there. And it's up to you how much you put in. As to how much you like Old Bay. But I want this to more or less be marinating in the Old Bay for a few minutes while we're working on other stuff. Let that sit for one moment while we double check our grits. They're looking good. I think I actually want to turn that up just a little bit. I don't want the water to cool down too much. Get that going. All right. Did we add Old Bay? Yeah, we did. Did we add enough Old Bay? Heck no. Put some more in there. Gonna let that sit off to the side and rest. Let's work on our grits. And they are looking good. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let's take these off the heat. Move them over here. Work on these guys for a minute. So let's add some flavor to these grits. First thing I want to add is some white pepper. That's about a teaspoon. Give that a little stir around here. And then let's add a little bit of salt. That's about a teaspoon. A little bit of cayenne, not too much. That's a little less than a teaspoon. And we'll give that a stir. Looking good, looking good. And the last thing we'll add is a little bit of garlic. Garlic's good in everything. you can see this texture of these grits is creamy, but to use the word gritty. Because of the coarse grind, you can actually see some of the grittiness of the grits. How about that? You have gritty grits. Doesn't get any better than gritty grits. So let's improve our gritty grits and let's make them cheesy grits. So we're going to take some Philadelphia cream cheese. This is about a third of this package that we're going to add in there. This will really give it a nice, smooth, creamy texture and flavor that is just delicious. So we'll let that soften up, melt around down in there. Now I don't have these burners on. I've still got these two on low. Matter of fact, I think I'll turn that one off for now. All right, we're gonna let that keep on softening up. And then we're going to take some sharp cheddar cheese and we're gonna cut that into little pieces. This is Vermont Extra Sharp by Cabot. So I'm just going to cut that into pieces that are small enough to go melt in there. And the thing is, you want the flavor, but you don't want too much because you don't want to overpower the grits and the other spices that you've got in there. We'll cut it into meltable pieces. Multiple meltable pieces. How about that? All right. And we'll get that out there. We'll move this back onto the heat and start stirring that around. Let that cheesiness melt and get all those good flavors merge together. And the last thing we're going to add to these grits is some butter. Did I say some butter? A good bit of butter. We're going to let that live over there for a moment. So the next thing we're going to do is prepare our vegetables and cook the shrimp. So let's turn this back up. Turn it back up. Put a little bit of butter down. Say we got onions, we got red peppers, and we've got green peppers. And then for garnish, we've got some jalapenos finely diced and some yellow cheese to put on top. Get these onions softened up just a little bit. All right, let's put in our peppers. The red peppers will be next. And the green peppers right after that. And let them cook in that buttery goodness. All right, we're going to let those cook for a moment. And let's check on our grits. Now there's no heat under this. This is just residual heat coming over from the rest of the griddle, and they are looking pretty darn good. Good back on that so they don't dry out. These vegetables are coming along quite nicely. They are almost done. So the last thing I'm going to do to these vegetables is I am going to put just a tiny bit of smoked paprika on them, just to give them a real earthy, a little bit more of an earthy flavor. So not much. It doesn't take much to really get a lot of flavor out of this smoked paprika. I mean, that's just half a dozen pinches is all that is. But man, you can really smell it. Okay, these guys are done. So the last thing we're going to do, move that off to the side. We are going to turn this one all the way up. While that's warming up, we're going to check on our grits one more time. Yep, looking good. $335. Give that one moment. It's coming up. Put a little bit more butter down. Let's do our shrimp. It's real easy to overcook shrimp, so I don't want to do that. I'm going to flip it around now. Just want this just cooked. But I want to leave it on each side enough just to get almost a little browning of it. That Old Bay will brown up a little bit all by itself. Okay, time to stir it again. We'll stir those shrimps up. We're almost done. Okay, guys, I think it's time to eat. Let's try some of this good stuff we cooked. Serve us up some grits. Some veggies on there. Put some shrimp on. As many as you like. So that's a bowl of Dave's shrimp and grits. All right, I'm ready to try these. They look really good. Let's just try the grits by themselves first. Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, so creamy. Good amount of salt. A little bit of spice from that cayenne when it hits the back of your throat. It's good. You can taste all those flavors. That cheddar cheese and that cream cheese is in there. Oh, I forgot one thing. Let's put a little bit of yellow cheese on top. Oh, and we also forgot our jalapenos. A little bit of yellow cheese on top. I was so excited, I just had to taste it. A few jalapenos. I do like hot stuff. Okay, back to the tasting. All right, now we're going to try some grits with a jalapeno piece and some yellow cheese and a shrimp. A lot of different flavors going on here, guys. The peppers are done, but not too mushy. They got a little crunch to them. The shrimp, oh, that Old Bay just comes out in that shrimp like you wouldn't believe. And then the jalapenos give it a real freshness, a real fresh bite. I guess I better stop eating and finish this up. So, guys, thank you very much for joining me today. Thank you for letting me show you my version of shrimp and grits. Please subscribe to the channel. Give us a like. Give us a comment. We really love those comments. I try to answer as many as I can. And, hey, we'll just see what's next with Dave.